Welcome to Adventuring Pals. In this video we are exploring outback Queensland. There's Mary Kathleen, and then we found out the highway going forward is closed due to flooding. When we did make it into the NT, we spent a night at the beautiful Devil's Marbles and then explored the West MacDonell Ranges. Alrighty guys, we are in a bit of a pickle. We're going to try and go from Queensland into NT, which we've just done. We've just crossed into NT, but the road is actually closed west of Barkly Highway because of flooding. Except it's not properly closed. They're allowing traffic to come through one way at a time, and to go from east to west, which is what we're trying to do. They're allowing you to cross between midday, 12 o'clock, and 3 p.m. And according to our nav, we'll make it there at about 10 to 3. So we have no room to stop for toilet breaks or anything. We've still got a couple of hours to get there. Just hope that we'll make it there in time so we can cross. Otherwise, we're stuck at the Barkly Roadhouse tonight until this time tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Let's go. We have no hiccups. Just a couple of hours earlier, and we thought we were in for a cruisy day. We had just left Cloncurry, where we spent the night, and pulled into Mary Kathleen. Mary Kathleen is the remnants of an old uranium mine and the town to support it. In its heyday between 1956 and 1982, it was a full-fledged town with all the facilities you would expect in any town. Nowadays, it's privately owned and used for cattle grazing. However, the owners are kind enough to let the public go in, wander around the mine, and even camp there for free. We were taking our sweet time and casually wandering around this place until we met some fellow travellers, and they informed us of the road closures up ahead. The travellers who we met were Vet in a Van, another lovely family who we first met in our travels around Australia in 2021, and they are still going at it. So if you're looking for another family to follow on the road, check them out. That's Vet in a Van. Woo! Alrighty, well, it turns out the nav was only counting for 100 k's an hour, and we've been smashing 130 k's an hour since NT, and we've made it with about half an hour to spare before the crossing closes. So on our way into the three ways next, get some more fuel. As we were navigating through the flooded Barkly Highway, we realised that we were experiencing something quite special here, something we're not going to encounter anytime soon. So we made sure to soak it all in. We were witnessing fish crossing the highway, turtles swimming alongside of our car, and bird life like never seen before up here. We made it safely through the flooded Barkly Highway to the junction of the Stewart Highway. Here at the three-way roadhouse, we stopped to get fuel, a bit of food for an early dinner, and then we motored on south. Alright guys, we're almost there. Probably another 15 minutes and we'll be at camp. It's coming up to almost 12 hours since we left where was it?
Cloncurry.
It's been almost 12 hours since we left Cloncurry. It's been a pretty awesome day so far. Checking out Mary Kathleen for the first time, that was amazing. Then checking out and driving through all the floodwaters at on the Barkly. That was quite spectacular. Probably never happen again. And now we're going to go camp at Devil's Marbles. We just booked a site in while we had the three ways because we weren't sure if we were going to make it there or not, but looks like we'll make it there just after sunset by now, because even on the Stewart Highway heading south from Three Ways through Tennant Creek and stuff, there's been a lot of water on the road, a lot of washouts on the road, so it's been a bit of a slow going process today, but we're almost there. Can't wait to set up camp, kick back with a hot cuppa. See you in a minute. By the time we had reached Kalu Kalu, or the Devil's Marbles, the lighting was just spectacular. This made for some great photo opportunities, so we spent close to an hour just taking photos. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that the Devil's Marbles ain't nothing, not even worth stopping at. I would have to disagree with that. If you're some sort of photographer, amateur or professional or whatever, you gotta book yourself a night here. The lighting here, from sunset, the astrophotography, the sunrise opportunities here, with the natural sculptured rocks around, it is just sensational and not to be missed. We finally set up camp and enjoyed the warmth of a fire on a cold night and a spectacular show by the stars above. The next morning, we awoke to a beautiful outback sunrise. And after a quick breakfast and packing up camp, we took on the Kalu Kalu walk. It's just a short 400-meter walk, but it runs along a creek, and thanks to all this rain we have had, the creek was full and we saw fish, crabs, and even some frogs. Not something you expect to see in the middle of the desert.
I hope you don't mind if I say that I love you, 'cause there's so many ways that I want to carve out our names, board a last minute plane, just us two. We can chase the sun as it sets.
We hit the road from Devil's Marbles heading south. With just a couple of stops along the way, we'll make the over 400 kilometres look pretty easy this day. After dropping off the caravan at Discovery Parks in Alice Springs, we grabbed lunch at a local brewery, and then we were off to explore the West MacDonell Ranges. With very limited time remaining in the afternoon, we headed straight for Simpsons Gap. This one is only a half an hour from Alice Springs, and the walk itself is only a 20-minute return. There's two ways to tackle this walk. They are both very easy. One, alongside the creek bed on a nice walking track, and two, just on the creek bed itself. Remember all the rain that flooded the highways? Well, the same rain had filled these creeks and gorges, making it absolutely spectacular. As we headed back into town, we had one more stop to make, and that was at Anzac Hill. As well as being a war memorial, it also provides 360 degrees view around Alice Springs at an altitude of 608 meters. This is a favorite sunset viewing spot for locals and tourists alike, and it's easy to see why. We finished off the night, finally, with a swim for the kids at the awesome pool and water slide they have at Discovery Parks, Alice Springs. In the morning, after packing up our camp, we headed straight to Alice Springs Desert Park. This is one of our favourite places to visit in Alice Springs. It is a botanical garden, zoo and aquarium all in one, and it showcases life in the Central Australian desert. My personal favourite part is the nocturnal house, where you can see the nighttime creatures of the desert come to life in the day thanks to the specially timed lighting. This is where you can see the very rare and endangered strain bilby. We have never seen them anywhere else. They have plenty of ranger guided activities and shows, including bush tucker talks and bird shows that will get you through the whole day, and even food and drink options to make sure he lasts. We crammed in there as much as we could do in a couple of hours, and then we pushed on west to try and get as much of the MacDonell Ranges done as we could. Our first stop was at Stanley Chasm. At Stanley Chasm there is a small entry fee, and the walk is only 2.4 kilometres round trip on a pretty nicely graded path.
We're at Stanley Chasm. We're going to take photos soon. There's a big pool there, but we're not going to swim because we're not in our pool. Well, there's a little pool, but we're not inside our swimmers. That's why we can't swim. It's a big drop-off. If you fall from there, it'll be a big drop-off. There's a big crack on the walls, and there's a big crack, and there's a pool over there. But you can swim in there, but it might be too cold. Jaden, want to talk?
After checking out the chasm, we went back to the kiosk and grabbed ourselves some lunch. Here we tried some camel burgers, which I can recommend. Next stop along the way was Ellery Creek Big Hole. There is a campground here and toilet facilities and a very short walk to the watering hole where you can swim if you're brave enough to face the freezing cold water.
Deep in our hearts where it matters.
After a good swim and a rest, we kept heading on further west, coming across plenty of signs of the recent flooding. Next stop along the way was Ormiston Gorge, another beautiful spot out here with camping available, even a kiosk, and easy access to the water with the help of some steps. Oh guys, talking about squeezing the most in your day, we've reached like near 4 o'clock. We're still heading, trying to squeeze the most out of the day. This day we're going to head to Goss Bluff or Chunanara. It's a awesome little media crater with an awesome little creation story behind it, which we'll tell you when we get there. But we've already checked this out. We're taking our mates along to see it, and they're very keen. That's why we are still heading out there. About another 40 k's or so to go, and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. As long as we'll make it there with a bit of daylight to check it out, we don't mind coming back in the dark back to Alice Springs for our base for the night. The last night in Alice Springs. But anyways, today has been an epic day. We have spent the first half of the morning at Alice Springs Desert Park. Awesome place. You can literally spend more than a day here. When we lived in Alice Springs, we probably spent 2 or 3 days just exploring every little thing there is to do there. It's awesome. Then after that, jumped in the car, started doing this Larapinta Drive Marini Loop sort of thing. We've done Ellery Creek Big Hole, we've done Stanley Chasm, we've done Ormiston Gorge, and now we are heading our way to this Goss Bluff. Should be about as much as we can squeeze into one day here exploring Alice Springs. So I'll switch back on when we get there and show you a bit of a look around. For long time viewers, you would have seen probably one of our last videos of our big lap we spent around Alice Springs. We came and showed you this place, which is awesome. I have a feeling by the time we get into there won't be much light left because you're inside the crater, so the sun goes away very quickly over there. Anyways, let's get there and see what it's like. Guys, that there, I don't know if you can see that through the glare of the sun, but that is where we're going to. That is the impact crater from this meteor, Goss Bluff. So we're gonna go drive into there. It's awesome. But I'm not sure how much light there's gonna be in there because being a crater, very high, ridge all around, blocks out the sun pretty quickly. So we'll wait until we get in there and see what it's like. And I'll also put in some footage from last time we went in there, just to give you a bit of a comparison. It was about 3 years ago now we were here last, and that was like in the middle of the day. So check this out, check that out, let's go. So the traditional Aboriginal story about Tronala is as follows. In the Dreamtime, a large group of women danced across the sky as the Milky Way. They were stars taking the form of women. During this ceremonial dance of the Milky Way, a woman, mother, put her baby aside resting it in her turuna, which is a wooden baby carrier. The turuna toppled over the edge of the dancing area and fell to the earth. The baby fell down into the ground and his turuna fell hard on top of him. At the places where the turuna clashed into the ground, rocks were forced up from underneath, forming the circular walls of Trinara. The Milky Way baby was covered with sand and hidden from view. The mother, as the evening star, and the father, as the morning star, are still looking for their missing baby. Right, so as if the day couldn't get any better, we've just come across a massive flock of Major Mitchell or pink cockatoos. It was amazing to see them in the wild, in their natural habitat. Up until now, I've only ever seen one in the wild, and that was up in Darwin, and they shouldn't even have been there in the wild. I reckon it was a pet that got out. But that is so amazing to see the pink cockatoos out in the wild. Now, the next thing to top it off would be to see some gang cockatoos, but we have to go to the Victorian High Country for that. So I'm keen to go to Victorian High Countries just to see some gangs. That'd be awesome. These pink cockatoos were all feasting on the paddy melons on the side of the road. The paddy melons, if you've been out in the outback, you'll see they're all over the side of the road in the red dirt growing, and apparently they are horribly bitter to eat, and even the cattle don't eat it. Well, it looks like these Major Mitchells are loving it because they were feasting all on it. Join us in the next episode as we tackle the infamous Mereenie Loop in a 50-year-old caravan. How's it going to handle it? And how are we going to handle all the awesome walks around Kings Canyon? Well guys, that is the end of another video. I really hope you guys are enjoying watching these videos. Thank you for commenting too. We love reading the comments, so please keep them coming. And we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.